book series, the Imperfectly Perfect campaign, and the global efforts towards changing the narrative towards mental health. What got you all involved? We'll start obviously with Sam. Big Hollywood name, you've been on one of the world's biggest shows, The Greatest Showman. This guy reaches out to you, talks about the Imperfectly Perfect campaign. What resonated with you first about it?
So one of the biggest things is, like, myself, I've gone through a lot of mental health issues growing up as being a little person. And I think the stigma in society, especially with being like a male, is on the external pressure of society and culture. And so getting involved in the Imperfectly Perfect campaign is like, it's saying that, one, as a human being, you don't have to be perfect, which is like, it's a principle that I think goes back to, you know, the Bible. I mean, God doesn't expect us to be perfect, so why do us as human beings expect ourselves to be perfect? So when you reached out to me about this campaign, I just thought it was like something that really needed to be, the stigma of mental health needs to be broken in society and culture. And, you know, I really resonated with that, so I wanted to be a part of it.
And I think on top of that, the podcast episode, which normally goes for about 30 minutes, went off for about an hour. We were chatting about everything through the mental health, and then we were talking about faith, spirituality, and your journey, which we'll get to, which is incredible. Because leading onto the book series, obviously it's about bringing some of the world's biggest names across every demographic, with everyday people like myself, with you guys. So Claire, when it comes to getting involved in the book series, you'd seen the Imperfectly Perfect campaign, you saw what it was about. What made you step forward?
Well, that's quite an interesting story. I saw it advertised, I was on the mailing list. Obviously, I was following the campaign through social media, which was pretty much the beginning, because I was a bit lost in the world of social media. I was finding it a bit overwhelming with all the reels and the highlights, and just feeling a bit overwhelmed with all of that. And yeah, I kept seeing the email pop up. And I'd gone through kind of a spiritual journey myself, and coming out of a toxic relationship, really starting to find myself, and just as Sam said about not being perfect and trying to be myself. And as a gay female, it was something that I'd kind of struggled with. Having some therapy, I uncovered a thing called internalized homophobia, where I'd make myself really small as to not make other people feel uncomfortable, and feel like I had to kind of hide that part of myself in a way, and I couldn't be my true self. So yeah, the email kept popping up, and then one day I just kind of thought, what have I got to lose? The old me would have gone, no one will want to hear my story, I haven't got a story. And I just thought, well, the worst that anyone can say is, no, you're not a right fit, we don't want you. So shot the email out, got a reply back, and then got on a call with Glenn, and the rest is all kind of history. But even at the beginning, I was still a little bit of trepidation as to, was my story, you know, worth sharing? And yeah, I'm so glad that I did, because it's from where I am there to where I am now, it's night and day. It's just worlds apart.
So we'll talk about some of obviously the things that you've gone on to achieve since doing the book. But Sharyn, with yourself, like, we knew each other over 10 years ago.
Yes.
And we came into each other's lives again.
Yes.
By passing each other in the street, in the local area. I mean, what drew you to the campaign? Because you didn't really know nothing about it at the time when we first bumped into each other again.
That's correct. I'd been looking at it on social media like Claire. I'd seen them pop up in my feeds, and first of all, I just love the name. It just, Imperfectly Perfect. It's just like, oh, thank goodness there are people out there accepting humans for what they are. And then after I bumped into you, I thought, I better find out a bit more about this. And the minute I went in, looked at your website, looked at the campaign, and just realised that it is all about removing the highlight reels, and just realising that social media is just that. And when I realised that the Imperfectly Perfect campaign is about being real and honest, I thought, oh gosh, I've got something that's been buried deep inside of me for a long time, that I've carried more or less around as shame, that I didn't need to, because it's nothing to be ashamed about. And by bringing it to the surface through connecting with you and then writing the book, that has completely changed the person I've become, and it's made me feel a much happier human. And I'm also having a great impact on people around me, are sort of feeling that it's okay to be imperfect as well. So it's just, as Sam and Claire have both said, it really is about just being who you are and feeling worthy, and that we are okay.
Yeah.
So I love the campaign.
And I mean, Claire's been in volume 1, you've been in volume 2 now. you've endorsed the book, you've endorsed the campaign. And what I noticed between everyone is this evolution, this spiritual journey that everyone's been on. And I want to draw it back to Sam one moment, because when we first met and you told me about receiving a random email from an agent you'd not heard of, that kind of that spiritual nudge was a sliding doors moment that I know that Sharyn's going to talk into that area shortly about. But just just share that story, because it's amazing. It gives you goosebumps every time you hear it.
Yeah, so before the Greatest Showman happened, I had originally signed on with a UK agent. But in the acting industry, like, you never know what's going to happen. So I went about like my ordinary life. 2 years later, forgot that I'd signed with this agent.
Yep.
Got a random email from them. I thought it was fake at the time. In my head and all that, you know, thinking that I'm not worth it, no one wants to hear my story or wants to see me, thinking it was fake and a scam.
Yeah.
So I was going to delete the email. Not thinking at the time, this came from my agent.
Yeah.
So like, I already signed with them, so this has to be real. But I was like, you know what? Why would a 20th Century Fox, like a major studio, want me for one of their films? So I was going to delete the email. There's something inside me, and I think now, honestly, it was probably God, but something inside me was like, you know what, I'm an actor.
Yeah.
Whether it's a scam, whether it's a fake, whatever, I have to do it. I have to, you know, give it a shot. So I did the audition, had 48 hours to do it, did it with my best friend, sent it in, and then within like a few days to a week, I got shortlisted. And then I met with the director, and then it all spiraled from there, and I was cast. And my mind was just blown.
Flown to Hollywood, The Greatest Showman.
Hollywood, Greatest Showman, you know.
What is that like, though? Just briefly, from going from not being known, doing some relatively smaller gigs in Australia and the UK, not the UK, New Zealand, sorry, and then being flown to Hollywood, be next to Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, Zendaya, going to premieres, everyone shouting Sam, and just suddenly just seeing that people want to know me now. And that's the whole thing about mental health as well. That's a whole new layer, isn't it? Going, people now see me, people recognize me. Do they want to know me for me, or do they want to know me for what I can do?
Yeah.
How was that like mentally dealing with all this, like cameras, attention?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things I think with mental health, especially for me, is I still to this day struggle with imposter syndrome. Like, I still don't think, like, everything I've been through, and even though people, you know, love me for my personality and all that stuff, I still think that I'm not worthy of like all the attention I've gotten, for everything I've done, for the people I've been around. Like, I still don't even think, like, why am I here? Like, why am I worth, like, people wanting to get to know me and all this kind of stuff? And then suddenly being in front of cameras, there's, like you said, it's a ulterior motive whether people want to get to know me or whether they want to, you know, be around me because of the people I know, the people, the things I can do. And it always goes back to also money. Yes. Unfortunately, people, when you're in this industry, people think you know people, can get them connected and have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the truth behind it is, like, artists are artists. We don't necessarily all have money.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm still a struggling artist today, even though I've been in one of the biggest films that have, you know, come out. So the truth is, I just want people to get to know me and not, you know, what I can do for them or, you know, who I can get them connected to.
And that's something that obviously affects mental health in a major way. But when it comes back to that sliding doors moments with the spiritual side of things, and now for yourself, Sharyn, your story, what you shared in the book, that was a big sliding doors moment. So can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure, it really was a sliding doors moment, one I'm really grateful for. And it occurred when I had a medical situation came up, and I was given a choice at that moment. I could take it and just sit and continue my life as it was, nothing changing just while I was recovering from a medical procedure, or I could do what I chose to do, which was completely reassess my life and use that downtime recovering from the surgery to kind of go, who am I? What have I been doing? What do I want and where am I going? And that really allowed me the time to go deep within, and it was a scary place to go, to be honest. It really wasn't a pleasant journey inwards, and when I went inwards, that's when I realised something had to change in my life. And very much, Sam, what you were saying before, people look at your life and they think, oh, you've got it all together, you've made it. And a lot of people looked at my life and thought, yeah, you're fit, you're healthy, everything. But deep down, I was hiding a huge, deep, dark secret, which I reveal in the book. And I am so glad I had that opportunity to sit back and reassess my life. And the opportunity to share it is just a relief, real relief. And it's, yeah.
And it's an incredible story for you to go that deep and where you went dark, and we can go into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But when it comes to you, Claire, you mentioned the internal homophobia with your story and how you dealt with it. Again, like Sam, with a bit of imposter syndrome and that they're not feeling worthy enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge thing for me. Very, very similar in not feeling good enough. Very much going back to even being a teenager, looking, because I was gay, and we're going back to the 80s and 90s, and it wasn't talked about. I didn't look like the other girls. I did have a lot longer hair, but I didn't look like the other girls. And I tried to fit in with those girls, but feeling like I was never truly myself, and just carried that forward in a lot of other aspects of my life, of dimming my light, I guess I would say. But as Sharyn just said, it's that journey, and initially it's not a pleasant journey. It's not pleasant at all. I had different types of therapy and coaching, but it's not until you start to come out of it a bit, you kind of think, right, well, I've had to go through that, and I've had to get to that lowest point to go, right, start to put myself first was a big thing for me, putting myself first, because I'd always put everybody else before myself. So I suppose that self-love and self-worth has been the biggest journey that I've had to go on, really, yeah.
And that's a common theme between everyone here. It's they've gone through that adversity, they've hit that rock bottom with what your story is, the dark secret, the body dysmorphia, the worthlessness, not feeling good enough. But on the flip side of that, it makes you become more empathetic and compassionate to other people.
Hugely.
And I was saying this the other day, that it needs to be normalized that there is no agenda with some people. You know, these days through social media, you do good things, you be of service, and people are like, there's got to be something behind it, because not somebody wants to do something so selfless. But when you've hit that rock bottom, you don't want someone to experience it. And I think, what have you learned as society as a whole? Because you've all moved now, you've all done books, you're bringing your own book out as well, and you've written in several anthologies. And on top of that, you're all speakers now as well. So when you're presenting, you're doing keynotes, and you're moving in front of the corporates and all of these people. What takeaway would you give on a whole that society has taught you, that when you lead by those imperfections, what comes from it?
Clint, it's a good question, and I think for me there is no other Sharyn Wright in this world. I'm the only person that walks in my shoes. I'm the only person that's experienced what I've been through in life. And the biggest lesson I've taken from all of this is you've got to be true to yourself and live your authentic life. You cannot be drawn into, I shouldn't say cannot, because society does draw us in. You need to be strong enough to prevent yourself from being drawn into living up to other people's expectations. Yep. And to me, that's just key. And I've just found that by accepting that I am imperfectly perfect, and that I do have dark secrets, and I have moved on, and I have changed my life, that's really just given me literally like I've been reborn. And you're talking about a spiritual journey, and I'm certainly traveling on that consistently now that I've changed my belief, and I've got self-discovery and self-belief and self-love. And being part of this community has contributed to that greatly.
But when you do talk about the deep, dark secrets, what you are saying there, you've got them, but you've exposed them as well.
Correct.
So if there's anybody listening out there, obviously what Sharyn is saying is, when that exposure is there, it just leads you so much more in the open, and you finally find your people. Have you found that? Because obviously with the great career you've had, have you found that when you've exposed your issues, when you've exposed your vulnerability, due to societal pressure, like I was just saying, there's almost this, let's mask it, let's hide it. But when you expose it, people learn your story, and that's how they see the real you.
Yeah, I think it's like mental health is all about wearing a mask. And I think when we wear that mask, we feel all this burden and all this pressure on ourselves to be perfect. And so what's great about the Imperfectly Perfect campaign is no one expects you to be perfect.
Yep.
Again, I think it's about confession. And I think that's one of the biblical principles, is that we confess, what we're hiding. And when we confess it and we get it off our shoulders, we're forgiven. So just like God forgives us, when we confess, what we're hiding to each other and we get it off our shoulders, then we're not wearing the weight of the world or our burden on our shoulders anymore. And I think one of the things that we're all scared of is that we think we're the only ones to have ever dealt with that in the world. And we're ashamed to want to admit that we're going through that. But the stigma of mental health is that, no, we're not the only ones to be dealing with that. Billions of people around the world are dealing with the exact same thing. Like in the Bible says, there's no sin or no temptation that man has gone through that God has not seen. So to think that we're the only ones that have dealt with that is like, it's a little bit prideful as well. So it's like, I think we need to stop thinking that we're the only ones battling with it. And when we can start, allowing others to share that and open up about it and not criticize or judge them for it, then we'll start to become a better, well-rounded community and society.
So true, so true. And that leads me in the same question, Claire, but a little bit different. In when your story came out in the book, pertaining to societal pressures and what people expect, when you shared and bared your soul, what was the response?
Absolutely unbelievable, incredible. My job as a group fitness instructor as well, you stand up and teach groups of people and everybody thinks that you've got it all together all of the time. And yeah, so many people wanted to buy the book and wanted to hear about the campaign and were so supportive. And people would open up and tell me their vulnerabilities, and yeah, it's been incredible. And it's more people, I think we were talking earlier, the right people come along, and people were just so supportive. Like I can't say anything other than completely supportive, and just again reinforce that belief in myself, that me as myself is good enough. And yeah, the judgment as well, like you say, but we can't, until you've walked in someone's shoes, you can't judge them. So I think the overriding feeling that I have as well is the compassion, that you can never judge anybody for maybe the actions or how they speak or how they act, because you have to just send love and compassion, because you just don't know what they've gone through or what their day is. And like I say, even for teaching fitness in classes, everyone's there for a different reason. You've got no ideas but why they're there, but we're all there together as as one sort of supportive community to do the workout and hopefully lift each other up and make each other feel better at the end of it.
But that's one incredible thing about the fitness, which we've all got in common, is that you don't see a title or a profession. So I can see Sam in there. You might have done an incredible career, but at the same time, you're wearing shorts, you're wearing a t-shirt, you're Sam.
Yeah.
The same as you, Claire, the same as you. And I think that's the whole entirety of Imperfectly Perfect. It's community. They want to see your heart. That doesn't mean to say that we don't have those bad days, but a simple voice note, or I know each of you know me as the voice note guy. Like, Sam, it was like, he's the voice note guy. But one word, like you keep mentioning the Bible and God with the faith stuff, it's one word of encouragement comes from wisdom that we've gone through, and that could help you right at that moment. And I think that's what people forget. It's the human element that we're missing in a lot of things, because social media and AI is moving so far ahead that we need to pull back a little bit and just really connect. And I think that is the biggest thing about it. But with you, Sharyn, when your story came out, and I've known you for so many years, and I didn't even know your story, and we worked together, and that exposed yourself to a whole, like, what you're going to share in a moment is something that a lot of people don't openly speak about, which is what the book in its entirety is about. But it shocked me reading your story as someone who's known you for that long. So can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Well, yeah, I will, Glenn. And the thing that got me is I remember the phone call when you called me, and part of the writing process is you get several drafts. Glenn guides you through it. And after the first draft, he rang me and I thought, oh, here we go. I'm going to get it in the air. And he starts off and he goes, first of all, I'm really sorry that you went through what you went through. And I just about crumbled in tears when you said that, and I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Because I've lived it my life, I've just thought, oh, I'll just take it, just brush it off, carry on, big shoulders and all that. And that's the big issue, is you do hide it. So what I went through was I had discovered a melanoma on my foot, and it has been now successfully removed. But as part of the healing process after surgery, I had to have my feet up for a couple of weeks. And that got me the time, or allowed me to have the time to question my relationship with alcohol. I had been in a relationship where it was normalised to drink every day and to drink heavily in the weekends. Yet during the week, I'm a fitness instructor, I'm a personal trainer. I stood up in front of groups of 50 people, training them. And I know now in my heart that I was turning up to many of these classes and I would have been smelling of alcohol. Not one person mentioned it to me, particularly the Saturday morning boot camps that I ran at 7 a.m. And I always wondered about that when it was sort of Friday night and I'm still drinking at 11 p.m. And really what it did is it allowed me to sort of stop and go, it's not okay. What I'm doing is not normal. Now, don't get me wrong. I wasn't completely out of control drinker. I was a very high functioning, and I use the word alcoholic, and a lot of people go, oh, but that's a really strong word to use. But I never knew you're an alcoholic. I actually don't mind what name you give it. It's an alcohol misuse. And I was drinking more alcohol than recommended. And I knew that it was just having this buffering effect on my life. I just felt as though I was just being held down. When I took that time, that 2 weeks, to reassess my life and make a decision at that point not to drink to help the healing, it was just like that. My life just changed instantly. Instead of waking up in the morning kicking myself and swearing, I was waking up in the morning going, woohoo, I'm alive. So for that to happen, and for me to have the courage to follow through as a result of that, and you'll read in the book the outcome, is it allowed my mind to become clear and allowed me to change my life onto a trajectory that I never imagined would happen. And part of it is I wouldn't be sitting here right now with you had I not made that decision.
Because there was umming and ahhing, wasn't there, when we were talking about it?
Well, I'd said to Glenn, people aren't going to want to hear my story, Glenn. You know, at the end of it, what I've achieved, I won't reveal my entire age, but I am mid-century. And to do what I've done, which was relocate state, start again completely at my age, it can be done. And you've just got to have that self-belief. And as Glenn says all the time, and I love this, what you say, Glenn, is just take small actionable steps every day towards your goal. And you will achieve. And you don't have to know how you're going to get there for that big goal. But you just need to take little steps and just look for the signs and signals along the way, and you'll get there. You just got to believe.
But what was that pivotal point for you where somebody read your story, maybe it was someone close to you, and the response and how you took that when you exposed it? Because we have this preconceived idea when we're going to share it. There's shame, there's guilt, people are going to judge us. But for the response that you received, that you told me a lot of the stories, what was the one that really hit you hard?
Well, the one where one of my group fitness members had approached me and just said, basically, I had no idea this was going on in your life. You hid it really, really well. I wish you'd said something was happening. I wish you'd said you were struggling. We would have helped. And that, I think that's a really good summary on how a lot of us, Sam, you've mentioned it as well, and Claire has as well, we keep it internalized. We sort of don't think people want to know us for us and want to help us. It's just what we can do for them. And now I realize, and now going forward, I'm the first one to sort of put my hand up and say, hey, I need a bit of a hand, and please could you help me? So just don't hide things, just bear it all, be vulnerable. Shame cannot survive the spoken or the written word. So if you get it out there, it's gone, the weight's gone. And
it really does.
Mentally, I'm such a lighter person now. It's fantastic.
But even with yourself, Sam, what I love about you is that transparency. And as we've got to know each other, like it's about 2 years now or something like that, but these conversations that we have all the time, but you've always spoken so openly about your struggles in the past. Can you delve into a little bit about that? And obviously one thing, because obviously we're filming in Los Angeles, and the height of whenever all the eyes are on you, that becomes another layer of mental health issues, wanting to be perceived one way. There's the media perception, And then there's, do I say anything? Because I know, I always say getting in bed with the entertainment industry through what I've done, there's a lot of people who in the past was like, we want to help it, Glenn, but then my agent said it might affect me if I speak about mental health for a gig. So how have you navigated that journey and come to the realization that take it or leave it? I'm Sam. I need to bring my entirety to the screen, to people.
I think honestly, when it comes to mental health, I don't really care about the perception that people like put on what I share. I believe in being an open book, because from where I've come to where I am, and like I'm still not at the height of success that people think I am. But I believe that if we speak openly about what we're struggling with and the mental health challenges, I've gone through so much in my 31 years. I'm 31 today.
Yay.
I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be alive. So to me, it's like, I don't really care, because what people are going to think or what people are going to say and how it might impact my career, I'm grateful and I'm blessed for what I've already done.
Yeah.
If I never do another thing again, that's okay. I mean, it will suck.
Yeah.
I'm happy for what I've already done. I think mental health and the stigma that we place on it today, especially with social media and how much we elevate celebrities and all that, it's a bit of a joke, because celebrities are human beings too.
Yes.
They have mental health issues. And it's only in the last 5-10 years that we've really actually started seeing celebrities open up about the mental health struggles that they've gone through, because of all the pressure, like you said, being in front of the cameras on red carpets and everything. Everyone expects them to be perfect. Because God forbid the person that you look up to and unfortunately idolize has, issues or struggles going on in their life, isn't who you want them to be, then your world comes crumbling down. And so they try to be perfect for, how they're seen. And also, entertainment industry, it's a business. So if you look weak in the business aspect of it, then you're not necessarily going to get hired again. But I think in today's world, if you are more vulnerable about it, people will respect you more. And I think that's, part of it. I just want to be true about who I am as a human being. How that impacts people, it's not for me to say, it's for them to decide.
Put it out there. And I mean, that was the whole thing with the Imperfectly Perfect campaign. When I started it, it was some local celebrities, and then all of a sudden Rebecca Gibney, who's one of Auckland's, New Zealand's biggest stars, lives in Australia, goes back to Auckland I think quite a lot, and Grant Denyer, two of the biggest names on the networks in Australia. It was almost like it gave the floodgates. When they came, they was the top of the success when it came to TV, and then the names kept getting bigger, and then everyone was suddenly like, oh, this is okay to talk about. Because what I wish people would understand, and I'm not in the industry, but as I say, sleep in bed with the industry, is you guys within this industry have more to take on board and a bigger risk for your mental health, because not only are you contending with the pressures of keeping going in a job that's unstable at times, the money isn't always there, but the public perception is you've been on one of the biggest films, you might have done a TV show, you might have done that. The money is exuberant because of what media portray. And you're like, if only you knew. I live in an apartment, I've got a small TV, I can't pay my rent if I don't work, COVID's just hit, then we've got the strikes on, then we've got this, but yet the public perception as well. And this isn't the public's fault, this is the social media, and it's the media, how they portray it. So it's just one of those things that I wish people would really understand, and that's one part of the Imperfectly Perfect campaign, just going, forget titles, forget professions, corporate industry, entertainment industry, any industry, people at the top of the game normally have 10 times more pressure than us who are struggling. And that's what I wanted to normalize, because it's like, you say one wrong thing on your social media, you're villainized.
It's cancel culture.
Cancel culture, because you've got a public platform. But now we're seeing it also with everyday people as well. You say one wrong thing. So your birthday today, happy birthday.
Yay, happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you.
And none of us offspring chickens no more. How have we seen social media? The reason why I'm saying it, social media evolve, because I've been seeing a lot of nostalgia on social media lately, the 90s when we all grew up, and it's been incredible because you're like going to Blockbusters, getting a video, you're with your friends playing computer games, and these days it's like kids with the virtual assistants and AI. So what is a message that you would give from everything you've been through, hitting adversity, the spiritual kind of awakening with social media and with the younger generation?
Well, it's quite simple. Be where your feet are. Live in the present moment. I won't say scared, but I get always taken aback when I'm out in any public environment and there are people. I mean, I love to sit and talk. And you go somewhere like the airport where we were yesterday.
Heads down.
Heads down, no communication. It felt like they're all robots just sitting, and it was everyone walking along, bumping into each other. So my lesson, my sort of learning that I'd like to share with anyone listening is, particularly the children, is get off social media, get off your devices, get out and live in the real world, because 90% of what you see produced on film is not real life. This is real life, and you miss so much if you are always, looking for something to satisfy your thinking on a screen, whereas you can be in an environment and around people and learn so much by just looking. There doesn't have to be the spoken word. You can just observe people and their behaviour, and the present moment gives you so much joy, and you never get that moment back.
Yes.
Ever. Yeah. So definitely be in the present moment and live your truths and be authentically yourself. Never be ashamed of being the person you are and the person that you were born into. You are you, and that's it, and I accept me.
That's I think that's a famous, one of the actresses on the podcast, get it, a Dr. Zeus. You are you, no truer than true. I can't remember, so don't get me. But when I heard that, I was like, that's so true. But coming to yourself, Claire, same question. But as somebody who is an exception to the rule, who doesn't really utilize social media that much, as in you're not on it like a lot of people are, what have you found now? You've stepped forward with the book, you're learning about personal branding and marketing, so you know you have to show up in a way, but how we've cultivated it is use it as a add-on, as a ripple effect, so your head's not in it. But so far now that you've been learning some intricacies of social media, how are you finding, like, looking at it from, again, our generation, to even seeing adults? It's not even kids these days, because they are so adept at social media. My kid is like, he's got a YouTube channel, he's blown it up in a few weeks to like 10,000, and he's like, Dad, I've got more than you. And I'm like, hold on, like, calm down, don't get like these shorts and all this. So for somebody who is, I'd say, relatively new, who's gone unscathed for years, which I think is incredible, a round of applause. How have you found navigating it recently and what you've noticed?
I think, again, it's been really positive. That I've always been more drawn to following, obviously, more uplifting people, posts, and certainly the people that have been following my stuff on social media often reach out, and it's just the biggest cheerleaders and just saying how much they enjoy seeing everything. But I think, again, going back to being part of the Imperfectly Perfect campaign, it just allows people to, again, not be perfect, and they are the biggest cheerleaders because they just see me being authentic, and I think it allows them to be authentic, and probably, again, they're holding bits of themselves back in the past. They'll have held bits past, but now they feel that they can be themselves. But I think it's the community which is the biggest thing, and that's the great thing with social media, because obviously reaching out to different people around the world and making so many great connections through the campaign, obviously Sharyn being one, and quite a few from both volumes for me, we're in contact a lot, and that wouldn't be possible without social media. So there are some huge benefits to it, but you cannot replicate a face-to-face and in person, and I love that, putting your feet on the ground, because you can't replicate, and that's what, again, going back to what we see with the kids nowadays, and they think they're playing because they're playing a game, someone in this country playing with someone in another country, but it's not the same as physically being with somebody and having that eye contact and face to face. And
again, I would still say though, congratulations, because it sounds like you've gone unscathed still. The algorithm's not caught you.
I have.
Because where I was going and thinking was like, oh, I have seen how people are using it, and it's like, it's too much. So well done.
Yeah.
keep out of it and use it as an
Yeah.
extension. And again, I bring it back to your career because you're in entertainment, but you know it's a huge aspect of personal branding and marketing yourself in an industry such as entertainment, whereas it is as a best-selling author and a speaker as well, so we all know. But it's such a useful tool for you. But we also need the industry now negates talent sometimes over the amount of followers. So they're bringing in people with followers rather than the actual talent behind things. So what message have you got, first of all, and what have you noticed with social media, and what's your relationship with it?
Well, it's kind of funny because honestly, after The Greatest Showman, like I was so invested in social media, like building my brand and building like my presence so the followers could find me and stuff. But I think as I come further and further away from that, even still being in the industry, I've been using social media a lot less. Like I've been trying to be, like you said, trying to be like more in the present moment, and like, and going back to like my faith, it's like trying to reconnect like with God and like eliminating like, you know, the distractions and digital technology and all of that kind of stuff. But obviously social media is still very, you know, relevant for me as an actor. So I kind of use it very sparingly, like when I actually feel like there's something that I need to communicate or that I feel that is very relevant for people to see. When I'm doing an event or I have a new book coming out or a new project coming out, I'll post that. Yeah. But I used to, you know, be on the trend that you post every day because of the algorithms and everything, and that's how you build your following.
Yep.
I don't do that anymore because it's very exhausting. And unfortunately in this industry, like we've gotten to this space where like a lot of projects will bring in someone who has a bigger following than, you know, someone who necessarily has the talent. And as an actor, like I completely understand it's a business, but it's also very frustrating when they bring in someone who's not necessarily talented but has a following. Like you can't teach acting.
Well, it's like how many years, there's a question I ask everyone who's really become successful, and it's like, how many years has it taken you through education, through all of the training you've done to become this overnight success? They see The Greatest Showman and they're like, you've made it, Sam, that's that. And you're like, so the question is pertaining, how many years was behind all that for you?
Well, my passion for acting started when I was 8 years old. Wow. So, like, you know, I'm 31 now.
31 today.
So, like, a long time, like, from 8 years old when, like, my passion started, I, like, went through high school and, like, extracurricular activities, doing acting and all that stuff. I did small projects in New Zealand and Australia. And then I got my quote-unquote big break, overnight success, when I was like 21, 22. So that was 14 years from when I had the passion of acting. And then from Greatest Showman, like, you know, I still haven't necessarily had my next like big project. So like, just because you have one thing happen that's, you know, quote-unquote a big project or overnight success, doesn't mean that that's going to continue. Like as an actor or an artist or a speaker or anything like that, it's always what project's going to come next. It's not you do a project and then you expect the success to continue. You have to work at it, and you're not entitled to get, you know, get projects and get jobs and things like that just because you've done one thing. It's about persistence, it's about passion, it's about purpose. So,
and I think that comes when it does come to personal branding, and when I teach and I do my speaking, entrepreneurship for social impact. I'm like, if it is affecting your mental health, use social media as an extension. Like never put your eggs in one basket and just concentrate, because we know even these days, I've heard it so many times, there are some public figures, there are influencers, quote unquote, who are moving away from social media themselves because they're exhausted. It is a lot. Posting, content creation. I mean, we were saying the other day, you see these morning routines, these absurd morning routines. And I just, for God's sake, I want to see a parent wake up and show the reality of a morning routine. Like, get up, slapping your face to try and wake up. And these days you're seeing ice baths at 3, you're seeing journaling, then you're seeing ice on the face, then you're seeing running, and by 9 o'clock, they're ready to go. And you're like, as a parent, you're sat there going, bloody hell, it's like, Lincoln, Leighton, wake up. Your wife slaps you, you slap her to wake up.
The question is that, like, you see all that, and you also have to wonder, like, how much of that is actually realistic?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly
do they
behind the
actually
scenes.
do that consistently every single day? Or do they decide if they're like, today I'm going to show my routine, and just that day they get up at 3
Yep.
a.m. They do the
Yep.
ice baths, they do the running, they
But
do
you've
all
also
that.
seen the
And
viral
then
videos.
a week, the week goes by, they never done again.
Yeah.
So it's like social media is staged, it's performance. There are
Perfect.
people that do it realistically,
Yep.
but then there are a lot of people that just jump on trends. Like right now, like, before the ice bucket challenge with the shoes thing, that's
Yep.
just come back.
Yep.
Yep.
And
The
I hope no one
affirmations, the
nominates
trend-
me, 'cause
it's-
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
Oh, Lady
yeah,
Sam,
what's yours?
outside for your birthday.
Yes, the ice bucket plus the ice bath, doing it all. But yeah, I think it is, because you can now even see the trends working. And this is the thing, again, we'll bring it back to the Imperfectly Perfect campaign about this authenticity. It's like people can preach it, but the reality is, are you showing yourself? Because if you're jumping on social media and you're saying I'm being authentic, that's not original content if you're jumping on a trend. Because we're seeing that Will Smith and Tatiana Ali doing that dance on TikTok.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it to blow their figures up. But a lot of people are preaching, I'm authentic and I'm this. And I understand it from a point of view, they're wanting attention, but how much is it affecting their mental health if they don't get the views and they're pertaining their worth to their like and all of this stuff. So that's one thing that obviously when I speak in front of corporates and I get up, I speak about all this stuff, and it's so refreshing because people don't. And you coming from the corporate sector and moving now as an international bestseller, you've been in the corporate sector for a long time, you've stepped away, you've rebuilt your life, you've moved back into the speaking circuit.
Yeah.
What is it that your message you want to give? And when you don't go in from and deliver keynotes, how are you going to lead authentically?
I'm going to lead authentically by telling yourself to all go within. Find what your shiny, sparkly bits are that sit within you as a person. I don't think any of us spend enough time looking inwards. We're always looking outwards to gain and seek approval from others. And going through the journey I've been through, and with a spiritual awakening, I've realised that everything I have, and it's the same for Claire, for Sam, for you, Glenn, everything you need is actually within you. You just have to go within to find it and have the courage and the vulnerability and the strength to bring it out and to release what needs to be released, to forgive and forget, let it go, and then to work on anything that needs working on, and to play on your strengths, because so many of us want to become something that we're not. And it's like the best way to succeed in business, if you're good at something, do that and hire someone else to do the bits you're not good at. Same in your life. If you've got things that you're not good at, let it go. It doesn't matter that everyone else is good at it. Focus on what's important for you. So another thing I'd like to share is that a lot of people have come up to me and gone, oh, you're so brave sharing your story. I could never be so open. I could never do that. How does it feel to have got it out there? And I'm like, it's a relief, because it's been bottled up inside me. And when you hold something inside you as a secret or something you're ashamed of, it actually changes your body physically and your physiology, and it can cause you to become very unwell. So there are a lot of people out there that are constantly unwell physically, and they don't know why. And it's because they've got a secret or something they've held inside themselves.
Yeah.
So I guess my main message is just to go within, do the hard work. It's like pulling a Band-Aid off. It's going to hurt, but if you want to heal, you've got to do the work.
Yeah.
And my message is all around encouraging people to do the work, to find out what it is, and then start putting in place wellness protocols to make them feel better and to help them live their best authentic life.
And that's a huge area in the corporate sector, as you, who's been high flying in the past.
Yeah.
You've seen what's lacking in the industry. So for you to deliver keynotes on that,
Yes.
like just the message in itself.
Yes.
But with yourself, Claire, like obviously I'll say it to you as well, like a best-selling author now, you never thought you'd sell that many books. She's never sold anything, and she sold over 200 copies. And that was in the first couple of months.
Yeah.
And then wanted to move and see what it was like as a speaker. Got in a prison speaking, local clubs, and she's been moving around the circuit. When you're delivering yours, what is the message that you're delivering? For anyone out there that's obviously listening to this, we want her.
Yeah, very, very similar to Sharyn. Definitely to go within and just share your vulnerabilities, because again, there's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all just human. We're all on this earth doing what we're doing, having a human experience. There's nobody any better than anybody else. You might have more money, you might have more things, but they're just things. Ultimately, we come into this life on our own and we go out on our own, and what have we done and who have we helped and how have we made an impact? That's what's super important to me. And it doesn't have to be monetary wise, it doesn't have to be a big show shebang, it can be very much the small things, but again, them actionable steps every day, they are absolutely key in going in and asking, you know, why am I here? What do I want to make an impact with? How can I help people? And being of service is really, really important to me. Really important.
But what's that energy shift like within yourself from questioning about doing the book, stepping forward, only coming from a background in fitness, delving into this kind of world now?
Yeah.
Speaking, the book selling, all the rest of it, speaking international stage in Sydney, Australia with celebrities. Now she's in LA and she's in studio. And what is that energy, that shift within yourself? Because I know a big issue with you was that feeling worthy.
Yeah.
And now look at you.
Yeah, the main thing that's come into my mind is it's confidence. It's having the confidence, and by being true to myself and showing all of the good parts of me and working on the bits, you know, my shiny bits, and letting them come through. It's that confidence. And I didn't really I haven't changed my exterior or changed. I'm still me, but I'm just elevated a lot more and comfortable and happy, very, very happy in myself. And that's a big thing. Because of the worthiness, it was always, you know, if you're single, for example, there's a lot of stigma around that of, you know, and people don't mean to say it, but, you know, people in the past would say to me after coming out of that relationship where everyone was so happy for me, but it wasn't the true relationship that I was living, and that's nobody's fault. That's on me for not speaking up and not being myself at times. But when you are single, the judgment and shame can come where people go, "Are you still single? Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm
like, I love it.
But I'm actually,
Right, absolutely.
I'm actually happier than ever. I'm
Do you turn it round though, and do you say, "Oh, you're happily married"?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think the grass is greener on the other side, doesn't it?
Yeah, but again, it goes back to that going inwards.
Yep.
And again, we come here on our own, we go on our own, and who have we helped, who have we impacted, how much love have we shared? And we get so much love. I was listening to something the other day, and it was saying, how do you define love? And there's not really a word, or there's not it's just a feeling. You can't really put words to it. It's a feeling that you share with other people, or how you feel in yourself. It's just a bottled up emotion of joy and life and happiness, and but
that being of service, and that last little part, what you leave on this earth, your legacy, is with you, Sam. You started your own foundation towards the little man, and that was about helping other people. So what message would you give people, and just tell people a little bit about the little man?
Yeah, so I've slightly been rebranding it lately because, like, as I've reconnected towards my faith in the last year, I've been rebranding it towards, like, faith, because honestly, the little guy used to be all about me, and as I've been finding it, it's not about me. It's about God. And so, like, I've rebranded towards faith, and so it's all about love. It's all about, like, unconditional love, because God uses the word agape love, which is like unconditional. So no matter what we've done, no matter where we've been, no matter how we treat ourselves, God loves us. Yep. So I'm building this brand towards helping people see that, you know, their connection to God gives them their identity. Yep. And because that's been the biggest thing for me, like growing up as a little person and talking about worth and, you know, feeling valued and, like, you know, people pleasing, because I grew up trying to people please a lot, because I didn't feel I was worth anything unless I catered to everyone else and I put myself last. Yep. And so one thing, like one of the scriptures I've read in the Bible was 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, which is about God looks at the heart and not the appearance. And so I think when, as human beings, we're used to looking at what can someone do for me? Or what do I look like? You know, what value do I bring to them? And so with my brand, The Little Guy, which is actually now called The Little Guy Collective, I'm trying to build it so that people can see their own value and see that if they put their value and their identity in God, that's all that matters. And once you have identity in God, then you don't necessarily need identity from anyone else. And that's a big thing for me in reconnecting with my faith. Like, I found that I don't need to people please. I am single. I do want to get married. I found
Okay, for now.
I found that when I put my identity in God, all that stuff will happen or it won't happen. As long as He loves me, I'm happy.
But what you said there, I was only speaking about this yesterday, wasn't I? With the faith and the spiritual, that you've rebranded, which is ironic because you would never know this, and that's how people all the time are brought along your path, is that I was only saying yesterday, I said, there needs to be this thing, because even people on the walk of faith or spiritual, and some people go above and beyond, they've had this awakening and then they become the preacher, and that collective, when they preach we, they mean me.
Yeah.
And it's only when you return it and realize that collective is a we, that we can all grow together. It doesn't have to be about me. So for you to say that today, the same way that I was only saying yesterday, that's the thing. So my last question to you all, and Sam, you've got to remember what you said last time on the podcast, which I don't think you will.
My memory's good, but not that good.
Exactly. What does, and we'll start with yourself, see if you can remember. No, I'll come back because we'll see you remember.
I had some fun,
Sharyn,
I think.
The famous question.
Yes.
Are you ready for this?
I am.
What does being imperfectly perfect mean to you?
Being myself. It really means be me, because there is no such thing as a perfect human. Because if there was, the human race would never die out. We would all last forever. So being imperfectly perfect to me is being genuinely myself, accepting any flaws in myself and others. So it's very much about not just me, it's a collective. And also it's about seeing the world through the eyes of love and sharing love with everyone regardless of whether they're imperfect or not imperfect.
Ooh.
Love that.
Now don't go in your head, because when I ask everyone question, they go, "Oh, that sounded bloody good." What am I going to say now, Claire?
Yeah, it's very similar, but yeah, be authentic, be true to yourself. It's okay not to have it all figured out all of the time. Nobody has, and yeah, be yourself and love yourself. And once you love yourself, you allow more love into your life by just being accepting. To be accepting of others and be accepting of yourself.
So everybody except Sam, just drum roll. See if Sam can remember. In a couple of years, mate. It might have changed. Obviously, it changes for everybody. So what does imperfectly perfect mean to you now?
Imperfectly perfect to me honestly means being a human being. Because no human being, except for Jesus himself, was perfect. There's only been one human being, and he was God, that was perfect. So I think imperfectly perfect just means being a human being and not expecting others to be perfect, because perfection is unobtainable unless you're God. So I think just be a human being and don't expect perfection from other people.
Perfect. Well, last question to you guys. If someone was interested in becoming a co-author, what was the experience like, and what would you say to them? From two people who have obviously and ahed about it, and then obviously Sam endorsing the book series and getting behind IPC, what's your message?
Just do it. If you're even remotely thinking about sharing a story or writing for the first time, take on the chance. Glenn, you did an amazing job in coaching me through writing my story, and it's a very well thought through process. And the hardest thing is getting started, but I can assure you, once I got started, the words just flowed, and then from there there's a process to turn it into a story, of course. However, the benefit I got personally from taking something from out of my basically head and put it in my heart has been a game changer for me. And to see my story in print and have other people read it and hear what they've thought of it is just so, it's empowering And that's something I wasn't expecting. I did that for me to get it out there, a little bit selfish. I wanted it out there, but then I thought, as soon as I'd written it, oh, actually, other people might want to read this. And it's
And then
amazing.
when you see the selfies with everyone from
Yes,
around the world
and
with the
people are
pictures of your
reading
book,
it.
your story.
And they're inspired by it, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's a bonus. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So absolutely, if you're even considering thinking about it, just do it. Trust your gut, just do it.
Yourself, Claire.
Oh yeah, especially considering, you know, I was the same, who would want to read my story? But I had absolutely no expectation apart from, first thing I said is if it helps one person, it's worth it to not go through the years of torture and turmoil and self-loathing and lack of confidence. So yeah, even if you don't think that you're a writer or you wouldn't know where to start, the coaching that you gave, Glenn, was just second to none. It helped all of us go from the head into the heart and really get the feeling out onto paper, and that's such a cathartic thing to do as well. It's huge, and hey, you just don't know where it's going to lead.
leads to Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, yeah.
Los Angeles, yeah.
You know, yes, it's. I would just say do it to anybody, because everybody's got a story, and that's what I've found. What people share with me, everyone's gone through something, and it might be similar but not similar, not like exactly the same, but the same, and that feeling of, you know, shame and hiding things, because everyone's got something that they keep a secret and they're very vulnerable about. They don't want to share it because of how will people judge them.
But even if it's not a secret or hidden, what I want to normalize is, how did we learn about history, people's stories? So why do we think inherently our story isn't worth anything? Because imagine a child years to come picking Sam's story up, picking your story up. And that's what I don't understand. People still think their story isn't worth anything. What would you say?
I would say definitely just do it, because I think writing is, like any form of writing, like journaling, doing like an amazing book like this, it's therapy. It gets your thoughts, whether it's like a secret, like you said, or whether it's just a story that you've gone through and that you believe, whether or not you believe anyone wants to hear it, people need to hear it. Because again, that's how we share history. That's how we learn lessons. Because if we repeat history, we're doomed to repeat it. So if we learn the lessons through other people's experiences and stories, then we're not going to hopefully repeat that. And like you said, that if it just helps one other person, then it's all worth it. If my life, my experience, everything that I can write down and share with another person helps someone not go through guilt, not go through shame, not feel unworthy, feel loved, know, you know, their worth. If that helps one other person, it's worth it. Because you never know the rippling effect from you helping that one person to what they might do. You could help one other person. They could start a huge foundation that could help millions of people. So you could be the first domino that starts a chain reaction.
Love that,
Ripple
love
effect.
that. And funnily enough, the book is called The Stories You Have Been Waiting to Hear.
So
guys, I want to first and foremost thank you all for coming. Obviously flying in from the UK. We'll say Kiwi land, Auckland, even though you're here. Guys, you can go to any major online retailer. It's a best-selling book series. There's obviously Volume 1, starring our own Claire. Volume 2, endorsed by Mr. Sam Humphrey. And obviously my book, The Self, One Man's Mission to Redefine Imperfection, which is raw reality. Last question, really quick. Where can people find out more information about you, Sharyn?
jump on the socials. On Instagram, I'm @_Sharyn Wright. Or on Facebook, Sharyn L. Wright. Would love to hear from you.
And just remember, guys, it's not like we're on socials all the time. We've just been talking about that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely not.
Where can you find socials?
I might get back to you in a few days.
What about yourself, Claire?
I'm a little bit on Instagram, which is Claire Smith 6469, and Facebook as Claire Jane. But it just comes near me, come up and speak to me. I love having conversations with anybody and everybody, and I just love going straight into the heart, and deep conversations is what I'm all about.
And what about yourself, Sam?
So again, social media.
Move back a little bit.
I'm at the Sam Humphrey on Instagram and on Facebook. You can also find me on LinkedIn, which I think is an undervalued platform, especially in the entertainment industry. And if you really want, you can go on IMDb as well, where you can reach out to my team and they'll put you in touch if
Nice.
you want to work with me.
And guys, to find out more information about the Imperfectly Perfect campaign, remember it's all about changing the narrative around mental health, one story at a time. Go to the official website at